Hello, I'm Joyce.
And I'm JJ.
So we're going to be presenting clips from movies that we thought best represented the most important defense mechanisms.
So, if you're studying this chapter right now in psychology, take out a piece of paper and get ready to take some notes because there's going to be some really important information that will be helpful for your AP test. So, this video will mostly have visual aids, so please listen carefully. And if it'll help, you can write or draw the visual aids to help you recall the defense mechanisms more easily for your chapter test or your AP.
But first, we'll start off with what is defense mechanism. Defense mechanisms comes from the psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud, who developed the idea that people use psychological strategies unconsciously to protect them from anxiety arising or unacceptable thoughts or feelings.
I think that the most important part to remember is that mechanisms come from unacceptable thoughts or feelings. So there isn't just one defense mechanism, there's actually a broad range, and we're going to be discussing quite a few of them in this video. The first defense mechanism is projection. And this is the attribution of one's own unacceptable urges or qualities onto others. So I was a little bit stuck on what projection is. But I really liked the analogy that Miss Johnson made before about movies and projections. And as you may have heard from her before, she said to think of projection as someone that's like projecting their own thoughts onto another person, similar to like a movie theater and how they project the movie onto a screen. So imagine like someone is projecting like a movie, their emotions onto another person. So here's a scene from the movie The Edge of 17, if some of you have heard of that before, that represents projection.
Everyone just wants to feel important in life. Thing is, no matter how important they are, there's always going to be someone more important. People get so uptight about that. Oh no, they're better than me. It's like, God, they don't realize important doesn't matter. It's confidence. Most confident person in the room wins every single time. It doesn't matter if it's real. It doesn't matter if they're pulling it straight out of their ass. People are dumb. They don't know the difference. And I'm going to tell you the real reason I'm having lunch with you today. You see, I don't really have any friends.
So when Nadine states that everyone just wants to be important in life, that might just be her unacceptable urges at the moment, which is that she wants to feel important to her family, but she feels that other people are better than her. So Nadine is projecting her own thoughts and her want to feel important on other people, and she's saying that everybody wants to feel important, but that's actually her own insecurity and her own thoughts.
So rationalization is pretty self-explanatory, but it's when one justifies their actions or feelings with socially acceptable explanations. It can also be described as making excuses even though their reasoning isn't exactly the truth or directly related to why they act or feel a certain way. An example of this can be seen in the following clip from Finding Nemo.
Nemo! No!
Dad?
Ugh, you're about to swim into open water!
No, I wasn't.
It's just a good thing I was here.
Dad,
If I hadn't shown up, I don't know.
He wasn't gonna go. Yeah, he was too afraid. No, I wasn't.
This does not concern you, kids. And you're lucky I don't tell your parents you were out there. You know you can't swim well.
I can swim fine, Dad, okay?
No, it's not okay. You shouldn't be anywhere near here. Okay, I was right. You know what? We'll start school in a year or two.
No, Dad! Just because you're scared of the ocean.
Clearly you're not ready and you're not coming back until you are. You think you can do these things, but you just can't, Nemo!
So in that clip you saw that Nemo's dad Marlin pulled Nemo out of school, and he reasoned that it's because he can't swim as well as the others because he has a small fin. However, Nemo's dad is actually using rationalization to give a logical explanation as to why his son can't attend school, while in reality Nemo is actually a good swimmer and he just wants to hide the fact that he fears his son will be in danger.
Okay, so the next defense mechanism is repression, and this is when one ignores or pushes down their anxiety-producing feelings, thoughts, or impulses. So I like to think of repression as you are repressing your feelings and emotion. Repress, you are pressing down your emotions. So repression is used to exclude distressing memories thoughts or feelings from the conscious mind. And this can often involve sexual or aggressive urges or due to painful childhood memories. So usually repression is from unwanted mental contents, and they're not from the conscious mind, they are from the unconscious mind, as many of the defense mechanisms are. I thought that the visual here of repression was pretty helpful. It's a pretty good example of it because it's showing that how even though the boy is very happy, he's unconsciously being upset, or he has these painful, aggressive urges or anxiety producing feelings that are hidden from other people. So on the outside, he might seem very happy, but on the inside, he is not so happy. So repression is used by Elsa in Frozen when she tries to hide her ice powers and continuously tells herself to conceal, don't feel. And she uses repression to push down her anxiety about showing her powers to the kingdom.
So, this is what a party looks like. It's warmer than I thought. What is that amazing smell? Chocolate.
Your Majesty, the Duke of Weaseltown.
Weselton! Duke of Weselton, Your Majesty. As your closest partner in trade, it seems only fitting that I offer you your first dance as queen. Jump.
Oh. Thank you. Only I don't dance.
Oh.
Well, he was sprightly.
Especially for a man in heels.
Are you okay?
I've never been better. This is so nice. I wish it could be like this all the time.
Me too. But it can't.
So Elsa, as you can see, she might seem like she was very happy at the time talking to her sister and meeting everybody for the first time in the castle, but in reality, she is not too happy about needing to constantly push down all of her ice powers and not be able to show her true self to everyone else. And she is just, even though she might seem cheerful, she's very upset unconsciously about not being able to really present her true self to others.
The next defense mechanism is identification. This is when one takes on the qualities of someone that they fear, despise, or are threatened by. According to Freud, after reaching a certain stage of development, children would start to adapt the characteristic of their same-sex parent and also adopt their parents' morals, and this would be classified as identification.
After all, I am your biggest fan.
Buddy?
My name is not Buddy! And it's not Incrediboy either! That ship has sailed! All I wanted was to help you. I only wanted to help! And what did you say to me?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
It tore me apart. But I learned an important lesson. You can't count on anyone, especially your heroes. I invented weapons, and now I have a weapon that only I can defeat. And when I unleash it, I'll get... Am I good enough now? Who's super now? I'm Syndrome, your nemesis, and it... Oh, brilliant.
So for context, if you haven't seen the movie, Syndrome is the character that had looked up to the superhero Mr. Incredible and tried to become his sidekick, but he was rejected and dismissed. As a result, he declared Mr. Incredible as his nemesis, but still adopted his hero-like traits to become his opponent. By adopting his characteristics, Syndrome demonstrated identification because he took on the qualities of someone that he dislikes.
So the next defense mechanism is regression, and don't get this one confused with repression because they are different. Remember, repression is pressing down your emotions. Remember that. But with regression, you are going backwards. You are regressing into a behavior pattern or characteristic of an earlier stage of development. So when I like to differentiate repression and regression, I like to think of the G in regression as going back to the past. So like the G stands for going. I just think of regression, going back to the past, repression, pressing down your emotions. Here is a video clip from our all-time favorite movie, Inside Out. And this is a very, very emotional part in the video where Joy is just looking over all the memories that she collected with Riley. She's just remembering all of the memories that she spent with Riley, and she's just very sad that all of these are being forgotten. And she's so sad that she kind of reverts back into a childlike or fetal position where she's kind of slumped down because she's so sad.
I just wanted Riley to be happy.
Now, this defense mechanism should be easy to remember because I think that the word is pretty self-explanatory. Displacement is when your emotions are redirected to a less threatening substitute. So, for example, if a student is having a bad day at school, they might be getting mad at their mom or dad or their pet dog. So you are displacing your emotions from one thing to another. Here is an example of displacement from Wreck-It Ralph.
Hey, genius! It's a jawbreaker! You're never gonna... Enjoy your little tantrum, diaper baby?
Leave me alone.
So as you can see, Wreck-It Ralph is directing all of his angry emotions to the jawbreaker and even a little bit on the little girl Vanellope. He is angry that he's not able to get a medal from his own game that he is in, and he never was awarded by the people in his game, but he's not expressing his anger toward the people. He is expressing it towards the jawbreaker instead. He's displacing his anger toward the jawbreaker.
The next mechanism is one of the healthiest defense mechanisms. This is sublimation, which is when unacceptable impulses are converted to take on a more acceptable and productive form.
What are you doing?
I'm hungry.
You are better than that. You are a cook. A cook makes. A thief takes. You are not a thief.
Special order! Special order! Special order!
Take a break, little chef. Get some air.
So in Ratatouille, Remy the rat transferred his negative impulses of stealing food into something productive by helping the protagonist Linguini cook food well.
So the next defense mechanism is reaction formation, and this is when you are thinking or behaving in a way that is opposite of unacceptable urges and impulses. So for example, you're being overly nice to someone you hate. When I think of reaction formation, I like to think of it as you are forming your emotions. They're not very genuine. So this is a very obvious example, and I think that some of you might know what movie clip I'm going to show you all. Here it is.
Oh my god, I love your skirt. Where did you get it?
It was my mom's in the 80s.
Vintage. So adorable.
Thanks.
That is the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen. Oh my god, I love your bracelet. Where did you get it?
So in this example, in Mean Girls, Regina is super nice to the girl with the plaid skirt and she compliments her. But instead, she doesn't like her skirt and she hates it. And she does the same thing to Katie too, even though she doesn't like her bracelet and probably also doesn't like Katie herself.
So you all probably know this defense mechanism, denial, which is the failure to recognize or acknowledge the existence of anxiety-provoking information.
Poised at the edge of the galaxy, Emperor Zurg has been secretly building a weapon with the destructive capacity to annihilate an entire planet. I alone have information that reveals this weapon's only weakness. And you, my friend, are responsible for delaying my rendezvous with Star Command.
You are a toy! You weren't the real Buzz Lightyear, you're an action figure! You are a child's plaything!
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.
So as you saw, Buzz Lightyear refused to believe that he's just a toy and persistently acted like he was a space ranger. He might be behaving this way because he's unwilling to feel as though he's less noble than he believes himself to be. It's important to note the difference between denial and repression. Repression is when one is aware of their feelings but chooses to ignore them by pushing those thoughts out of their minds. While denial is when one doesn't even acknowledge the existence of anxiety-provoking feelings or thoughts and acts accordingly. The final mechanism is undoing. This is when one performs an action in an effort to neutralize a previous unacceptable action. This defense mechanism is used when someone does something that they regret but they can't take back. And so to feel better about themselves, they would perform an action that may alleviate the guilt that they feel but can't physically undo what has already been done.
Hey! Oops. My unicorn! You have to fix it.
Fix it? Look, it has been disintegrated. By definition, it cannot be fixed. That's freaking me out. What is she doing?
She's gonna hold her breath until she gets a new one.
Duh. It is just a toy. Now stop it. Okay, I'll fix it. Tim, Mark, Phil! This is very important. You have to get the little girl a new unicorn toy.
So from this clip you saw that the youngest girl, Agnes, her stuffed unicorn had been disintegrated and the blame is placed upon Gru. And after telling Agnes that her unicorn can't be brought back to its original state, Gru feels guilty and uses the mechanism of undoing what was done by getting her a new unicorn toy, even though physically it wouldn't be able to bring back her old unicorn toy, but it would help alleviate the guilt that he feels. And these are all the sources that we use for our presentation. That's all the important defense mechanisms that we wanted to present.
So we hope that this video helped you guys learn about the methods that people used to negate anxiety-provoking thoughts or feelings. Bye!